Hopefully you've had a nice cup of coffee and you've got to stretch your legs. And it's a great pleasure to be able to invite John Arthur up to the stage. So, John, I'm just inviting you now. John is going to tell us about some of the wonderful stuff that's going on at Edinburgh and preparing your council for a paperless process adoption. So, John, unfortunately, we won't be able to catch up in the physical space, but I'm really looking forward to this session. If you just want to share your screen before you start to introduce yourself and your presentation, and we'll just double check it's on and that your sound is good.
Good stuff. Well, hi everybody. I think I've got 15 minutes to do this. This is our presentation that we gave to our sort of chief exec about six months ago now. You know, so it's a wee bit out of date, but I can bring you up to date anyway. But what this does is it really just explains the journey that we've been on to try and drive paperless processes throughout the council. So we spent the last 2 years putting the technology in, really setting the place up to roll out to the whole council. That's 18,000 employees over schools and all the other services. So we're going to run through a wee bit on what the strategy is, what we've achieved so far, and the team and the network coverage, what's the journey we're on, where do we want to be in, and really what's next for Edinburgh in this environment. Okay. So what was the strategy? It was really to help us fundamentally dovetail into our carbon neutral and sustainable ambitions as a council. They're at the top actually of a lot of the stuff that our councillors and the council wants to work on. So reducing things like paper usage, ink and toners and copiers, that sort of stuff, and being able to turn a lot of our transactional process, and that's letters, you know, forums, all of that sort of stuff, into an electronic environment was the way that we were going in the journey that we were on. And also using our lean and automation team, because we've got an automation team that work for us as well, that use Blue Prism. What we wanted to do was to look for opportunities again to be able to drive and reduce waste, being able to, you know, transact a lot more online where we could. And a lot of the processes were internal processes rather than external customer-facing ones, which is what Jean and Karen will probably touch on in their presentation. So where were we? Well, we're old model. This is it here. If you look at the bottom sort of right, the slide there, what we had was a very clunky sort of 1960s and 70s process where with a whole load of vans going round about the council's network, actually postmen, for want of a better term for them. We were manually sorting and delivering mail, so we'd take mail into a mail centre from all round about the council, we'd frank it and send it out. And in another area with a print centre where we created a lot of paper forums for schools, posters, wide format stuff, and artwork and signage, as well as printing a lot of transactional mail for customers as well. So where we were, we're running about in vans, manually sorting and delivering mail, paper mail, lots of paper usage and multifunctional devices. We were printing a lot of letters at copiers and putting them in envelopes and, you know, sending them for franking there as well. So very labour intensive type processes in there, and a huge internal mail transportation sort of network there with about 18, 20 guys doing that at one point. And we were talking about somewhere in the region of over 1 million letters a year going through this network. This is stuff that is not transactional. This isn't your council tax and billing mails. This was just general sort of mail that was going out to customers, about everything from parking to housing and whatnot. So we had two areas, a mail centre and a print centre, and antiquated processes. And what we wanted to do was to do something about that. We also had Iron Mountain for our deep storage, where we kept a lot of our paper records, and we would call stuff out of there for FOIs and disputes or legal letters whenever we needed them. Okay, so what we'd really looked at achieving, we integrated the print and mail operations into one centre. The reason for that was really just to recognise that over time we wanted to drive the volumes of printed mail down and start to cross-train those guys and turn them into people who could scan and print, but predominantly scan a whole load of legacy letters and records from Iron Mountain, but also scan incoming mail. We deployed online media procurement portal, MyPrint, which is basically a way that anybody in the organisation can order printed material, posters, wide format, things like that from the print centre. We bought and deployed industrial scanners into a new centre where we merged our mail centre and our print centre together, and we identified a whole load of automations that we could move to automatically generate letters, system letters, rather than manually doing them. And we also looked for opportunities to do away with the letters altogether. We reduced colour printing in the machines, deployed black and white as default to all the machines in our network, with colour being a bit of a luxury, and we instigated a new copier procurement there, because what we wanted was, while we don't really want to be copying and printing stuff, we wanted new state-of-the-art machines that would let us put some more technology in there, which we're in the process of rolling out now. The procurement's complete. We've got a new supplier, which will start in January. So this here, wee bit sort of complicated, this thing, but this is our new model for it. So what we did, first thing was we merged the print and mail teams into a new bespoke facility, where we got the teams, put them in, and we now do everything from the one centre. So the advantage there is that we can take a lot of the guys who are delivering mail and driving around about and train them on scanning of inbound mail rather than sending it to people. So we put some industrial scanners in this place where all mail now comes to that depot. We then scan it on these Falcon scanners, and what we then do is we then are able to send PDF copies of these mails directly to people's inboxes, rather than truck rolling them round about the city. We've just deployed that now. The scanners themselves are from Pitney Bowes. Quite intelligent things, these. What we can do with them is they actually open the letters themselves. We scan them, and then we can read what's on the letters intelligently using optical character recognition, and have a first guess at where to send the mail. It's attended by an operative who then forwards the mail on. But from the point of receipt, we then are able to track and trace those letters. We can then take copies of them, upload them onto SharePoint, and put them into our digital archiving systems. Again, we're rolling those processes out just now. So the last 2 years were about deploying the technology for this stuff. We've got it all in now, and we're making good inroads into that. So the other thing that we've done is that where we do want to print, send letters, we've now got options to basically send the letters direct from your laptop. So for example, I can send a letter to anybody that I want from a laptop now by using a widget which we've got and developed with Royal Mail and a company called CFH. So I can write a letter now and send it direct from my laptop at home. This has been a great boon for people, obviously, with home working due to COVID, and it's really helped. So we're sending up, probably now about 80 to 90% of our mail in the council That is everybody from, everybody that's home working, as well as the people who are in offices, from health and social care through to people in schools if they want to use it, to, people who are doing, say, council tax or, other things. They can send mail when they need to, direct from their laptop. So we're probably running about this year, somewhere in the region of 800,000 letters we'll do this way, which has transformed the way that the way that we work now. So we don't need to have guys in vans going round about picking up mail to bring to a central mail depot to frank it, to put into the Royal Mail systems. This mail system that we've got as well will do mail merges. You can set it up to send 10,000 letters out at the push of a button to 10,000 customers, should you want to do that. And there's also options for sending things via email as well. So this is a sort of schematic of how we've set the thing up now. And what we're also concentrating on as well is, because we've got the labour now, we've got the guys starting to back scan the stuff that we've got in Iron Mountain and with deep storage, and the ambition is over the next 2 to 3 years to scan and create digital records of everything that we have in storage. There will always be a need for some paper storage of certain types of records. However, what we want to do is reduce the footprint of that down to a very, very small sort of building, rather than the 60,000 bankers' boxes of records that we've currently got in deep storage at the moment. Okay, so quickly moving on. So what have we achieved today? I'm using 2019's figures because obviously 2020 with the COVID outbreak, I'm just really trying to give you a picture of where we were when we were all in the offices and what we were doing. So we've reduced the copier usage. We're reducing that year on year by about between 8 and 10%. So in 2019, we reduced the copier usage by about 7 million sheets of paper, or 10.5 million copies as a result. So even just on the paper itself, that's reams of paper, we saved about £32,000 that year on purchasing paper. And we all know that the majority of that paper's read once, for example, and then chucked in the bin or goes to recycling. So that's been a huge ongoing saving for us, and will continue to be. We reduced the amount of paper across the council. Looking at that, that's 14,000 less reams of paper. We purchased 300,000 less envelopes because we're getting Royal Mail to do it for us, and we sent 300,000 letters from desktops utilising my letters. So as I said, that's up to about 800,000 now. We've reduced the volume of mail being picked up down to about 20% of its previous total, and we started bank scanning. As I said, these bankers' boxes are in the deep storage. So we've got about 1,250 of those done, and we're continuing just to work through that for the next few years. To put that into perspective, the Iron Mountain storage costs us, we're billed somewhere in the region of about £70,000 a year just to store these boxes for the council. So any inroads that we make into that reduces an ongoing bill and lets us obviously use that money for something else. Okay, we've also reduced the reliance on physical mail runs. I'm going to say that when we first started this off, we had a team of about 7 or 8 vans and about 20 employees just doing the mail processes. About a year and a half ago, we're down to 5 people doing that now, with the rest of the staff deployed onto scanning or doing some other work for us in the council now. Okay, so a whole host of names here. It was just really to show that this stuff can't be done in isolation. It needs key players from around the organisation, from communications, procurement, the business support teams that we manage, commercial managers, planning officers, and the data protection teams, And that's really up just to symbolise that the team is large and wide and varied. If you want to be doing this sort of work throughout the council, and we continue to meet every couple of weeks just to look at how we manage to reduce paper further and paper consumption in the organisation. Okay, so what's next for us? Well, we're re-engineering the corporate learning and teaching copier fleet. City of Edinburgh Council has 1,540 photocopiers in the organisation. We hope to vastly reduce that in our next rollout, which will start in quarter 2 next year. Quarter 1 we'll be doing some audits of that. But what we definitely want to do is to use the new ways of working and the new normal that COVID's brought about with much increased uptake of home working, which we don't expect to drop that much. Certainly we won't begin back to offices and to the extent that we have in the past. So we want to be able to reduce the footprint of machines in offices. As I say, we've just industrial scanning and back scanning and the technologies that people can use from their laptop to be able to do that work. We've introduced digital mailroom assistant, which means that we can then start to, when we get any paper mail coming into the organisation, we scan it and we'll send it direct to people's mailboxes. We've rolled that out in customer and digital services at the moment, and last week and this week we're now piloting that with HR and with the councillors themselves, getting their mail this way. So they're key advocates for the change, which is great as well. And what we'll be doing over the next 3 to 6 months is starting to promote more of the paperless initiatives and the zero carbon focus that the organisation's got. So people were talking earlier on about about communications and bringing people along the journey with you. That's going to be critical to the success of these initiatives going forward. So very, very much looking to work with our communications and training teams to be able to make sure that new starters into the organisation, as well as just incumbent colleagues, get to know and use the technology that we're deploying and support them in that journey. Okay, so last but not least, just looking at our journey. When we first started this, we were over 100 million sheets of paper being fired through photocopiers and sent round about the organisation. As you can see there, going up to December 19, we'd reduced that down to probably somewhere in the order of about 60 million. And we're I say, reducing that between 8 and 10% year on year. So in the next couple of years, we hope to be down. We hope to have basically halved, if not get down to 40% of the usage that we would have had 2 years ago or 3 years ago. We're a very paper-based and paper-hungry organisation in the past, and the more organisations put stuff online, the more we introduce SharePoint, Teams, and all of these other technologies, the less we're going to waste and obviously make it much better for the environment. We're not putting into landfill as much paper as we had in the past, and you can think of paper as a fundamental sort of acid test of how technologically able your organisation is. We're on a journey, and we hope probably in the next 2 years to almost eradicate most of the paper in the organisation, but it's a way to go and it's a journey that we're on. And if anybody wants to reach out to us about the technology that we've deployed and how we're going about it, more than happy to share that with anybody that wants to see that. Okay, so that's my presentation done. If anybody's got any questions, happy to answer them where I can.
Thanks, mate. That's brilliant. That's really, really good. And I would thoroughly agree with you. Getting the whole team around the problem, all of the stakeholders, is so vital. So we have got some Q&A coming in here. So did the project look at the purpose for the correspondence and look at whether or not it was necessary at all?
Absolutely, yeah. As I say, the premise behind it all is we don't want to be super efficient at paper handling or reducing it. What we want to do is eradicate it. So when I mentioned the intelligent automation team that we've got, part of our bigger working group is not to produce paper or letters in that format if we can. We've now got a whole host of other channels that we're using. We've got online forums. We're building those things along with Karen and Jean and the customer services team. But absolutely, we've looked at do we need to send a letter at all? Can we do it another way? And even if we do have to send a letter, why is it 8 pages long? Why can't we make it 1 page or, re-engineer it in its format? So lucky enough to have the visibility of every sheet of paper that comes in and out the organisation, because we control the mail teams and the distribution teams, and we can see everything that's been sent out electronically as well via the Royal Mail functions.
Brilliant, mate. And we've got a session with Matt Prosser coming up, who's chief exec at Dorset. And they're on the journey to not have paper, and he refuses to take any paper. And even if someone can't do digital, he'll take a photo with his iPad. So he said, I'm just living it and breathing it. And he says he's been 18 months because it is a cultural shift. Next up, Peter, are you destroying records boxes under the retention policies as well?
Yes, when we basically we've got our data governance team that we're working with. So anything that we take out the archive areas with service levels and agreements about what we do with that. There's some documents need to be kept for forever. And there's other documents that are kept in life cycles of anywhere between 1, 2, 5 and 10 years. So anything that we do as far as destruction is concerned goes through a whole process to make sure A, that we should be destroying it, and B, if we do destroy it, we've got the appropriate records to prove what we've done with it. Ultimately, so it's very much embedded with the data governance team. And we're also investing through them on digital archiving software, which means that if we keep records in Word or PDF today, the technology may change in 50 years' time, which means that Word and PDFs are redundant. And what this technology and partners will let us do is change the media that we keep our digital records in perpetuity. To make sure that whatever we do, it doesn't end up like, for example, microfiche, which sits there and starts to degrade over time and becomes a redundant media. While it was perfectly good at its time, it's obviously had its sell-by date now. So, that's very much the focus of what we're doing there.
That's brilliant. I mean, microfiche would have been cutting-edge technology when it was about.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So from Sharon, do you have a cost benefit analysis of the cost of equipment, etc., versus savings that you can share?
Yeah, we can do that. At the moment, we're saving, since we started this project, the savings come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. So, for example, we know that while we do still send letters out to people, the whole process of getting off your desk, going to a photocopier, printing a piece of paper, putting it in an envelope, putting it in a pigeonhole box to be delivered, to be picked up and then franked and sent away. We're saving somewhere in the region of 20 to 30,000 man hours at the moment just in that process. So as I say, the savings suite goes from everything from paper that we haven't bought to efficiencies in processes, to turning off paper as the medium and going electronic, to scanning stuff in archive areas as well. So there are probably about 20 to 30 different areas where we save money. that all contribute towards the return on investment, shall we call it. But our council are absolutely adamant that because of our zero carbon ambitions and reducing the footprint of this stuff, that we would be doing it anyway. Okay, this is something that we know makes sense to do. So we've got the support of the councillors, the politicians, everybody else to do it, and it makes sense to do. So we don't measure every penny of it, to the nth degree, because that costs money as well. But we do know that we're making inroads into a whole host of areas. But yeah, happy to share the savings that we've made and the savings that we publish back to the organisation with anybody that wants to see them.
Brilliant. So final question from David. Thanks you for the presentation, John. Really good. Are you please able to advise how the paper reduction fits into the council's overall smart city agenda / project?
Yeah, well, if you think about the paperless project's about obviously moving to digital mediums where we can, and the accessibility of that information. So part of the smart city agenda is to make it easy for our citizens and businesses to do business with us. Okay, to make it really easy, to make it intuitive to do. So we are sort of joined at the hip with all of that work that's going on, because it's a fundamental sort of acid test, isn't it? How can you say you're a smart city if you're burning a whole load of paper or storing stuff in antiquated ways? We just need ways that we can work with our colleagues to maximise the use of SharePoint, for example. Let people see their own records. That will ultimately be the aim, that our citizens can go in and see anything and everything that is about them. Noble ambition, but will take years to do. But that's the journey that we're on, and what we do can't work in a silo to what the whole smart cities team are doing. So that's why we're in there and working with them. As I say, we also have the intelligent automation team who work for me as part of that process as well, and will help drive those changes.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you very much. We could open up a whole another half hour on where you're going to go with the smart city stuff easily.
Yep.
We could probably spend a day on it. So thank you very much. I don't know whether you're able to stop on for a little bit. Obviously, we've got some of your colleagues coming up next. It might be if people trigger some more questions, if you're around a little bit, that would be brilliant. But thank you very much.